ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Welcome, everyone, to today's edition of Collider Body Slam SmackDown Live Recap. So much to cover here. The 1000th episode. Show the highlights of us doing our SmackDown recaps in slow motion, in stills. I am one of your hosts, as always, John Rocha. Really excited to talk about this episode with the founder and creator of Pro Wrestling Sheet, always hanging out with me, Ryan Satin. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm looking forward to this one, man.
This was a fun episode.
Tonight.
A lot of stuff happened.
Right? If you're a wrestling fan, this was fun.
Yeah, okay, so I feel twofold about the episode.
Okay.
Yes, 100%. Like, a fun episode of the show.
Yeah.
If this were just like any regular episode of SmackDown, I think that I would not be complaining about it at all. But I think the fact that they hyped it up so much as like this epic ceremony of 1,000 episodes, I do feel like it was maybe a little lackluster in that regards in terms of like celebrating the 1,000 episodes of SmackDown, and compared to Raw 25 or Raw 1,000 or whatever it was. Like but compared to celebratory episodes of the past, I don't know if it quite was on par with those. But if I'm just rating this as a regular episode of SmackDown, above and beyond, like super entertaining, super fun, lots of cool moments, lots of good story stuff coming out of here, lots of good matches.
Right.
I very much enjoyed the show, so I don't want to look like I'm complaining about it. But in terms of like, do you agree in terms of like a celebratory thing that it maybe didn't live up to some of the others?
I think for me, more than anything else, it was about the fact that we got to see some images and shots of stuff from the past, but unfortunately, you have to temper it with the fact that some of these people have really moved on and done other things. Some of these people have passed away. And so it was just like, it was in that way, I was a little let down that we didn't see more guest stars come back.
That was more my thing. Like the only time we really saw guest stars was like the GM segment when like they were there for 2 seconds in the backstage,
it was so quick.
Or Edge, where like great segment,
right?
But it's not like we never see Edge anymore,
right?
You know,
right?
Although I will say, great use of Edge.
Yeah,
one of the best uses of Edge is one of the best ways to use Edge since he's retired.
Absolutely,
great segment.
Yeah,
and even like Evolution, was kind of random. I loved it. Great segment. That was one of my favorite SmackDown segments in a while. But even they said when they walked out, they mentioned the fact that this is like the first time Evolution is appearing on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Well, but it's
then why? Is that right? Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I get that Randy Orton, Triple H, Batista for sure have all collectively been parts of SmackDown throughout 1,000 episodes. So I guess it kind of made sense. And we'll get to the Batista thing because I'm pumped about the Bautista thing. It was great.
Let's talk. Well, let's jump first into the fact that R-Truth still has a job there. And damn if this isn't perfect to have R-Truth. I mean, who would have thought of if I told you 3 months ago, 4 months ago, like who do you think is going to open SmackDown 1000? Maybe at the 1 millionth guest you'd get R-Truth. Like maybe, maybe. But somehow him and Carmella opening this thing up with Truth TV, which apparently has been canceled after one episode, which is insane because people loved it.
Yeah.
And so he did the dance break. Carmella was telling him it was canceled. Of course, we had the opening with all those images from past SmackDowns, which was great. And some quick videos. You're seeing Edge or Rhino gore him through the Titantron. You see
Booker T and Steve Austin.
Booker T, which is great. Tell me you did not say that. You see Kurt Angle with his little cowboy hat. You see so much, and The Rock kicking Coach which is one of my favorite bits ever, when he has Coach doing the Charleston and then he kicks him right out. But you saw a bunch of stuff going through it, and so then we got to this thing where he's starting out with R-Truth and Carmella. Really funny stuff. Then they bring out Stephanie, and just when Stephanie's about to talk, boom, Shane comes out, and then Shane has a little back and forth with Steph, and then the boss comes out, Vince. So all the McMahons reunited. And so you mentioned earlier on one of these SmackDown, on one of these recap shows, how R-Truth is good friends with the McMahons. And I wonder if they were laying the groundwork this way so that R-Truth would introduce them for the 1000th episode. I wouldn't put it past them.
You never know. Vince works in mysterious ways.
He really
so you
does.
never know. Before I get to Vince, one of my personal favorite parts of this segment was when I love how angry Stephanie McMahon gets at people cheering Shane McMahon. Like her character getting like so worked up over like everyone cheering Shane It's the best. Like when she was like, "What? He's been gone for months. He's been gone like 8 months. Why would you be cheering him? He's been gone. Like all he has to do is, that's all he has to do, guys. Is just to say your name. Do you guys realize how easy it is to just say your name and you all just cheer for him? I love when Stephanie does that. I think it's great. It's like a fun little like sibling rivalry thing. So that was super entertaining. Always a pleasure seeing Vince on television. He's always entertaining. It always just blows my mind though when, with all the complaints from wrestling fans that you see on the internet, or even from you hear from wrestling fans that aren't necessarily complaining 24/7 on the internet. Vince still gets majorly cheered.
Oh, yeah.
Like right now, there are so many people that are on the internet complaining about Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
And it's all Vince's decision. Vince is the only one who can pull the plug here.
Sure, of course.
And they're just cheering for him. He's just dancing away like there's not this whole drama going on behind the scenes where there's pressure for them to cancel their multi-million-dollar event coming up. But you got to respect the grapefruits on Vince McMahon to have all that going on, to still book himself to be in the opening segment, and to joyously dance at the end of it. Crack me up because I'm like, God, that guy's got some balls, dude. That guy is like, oh, you guys want to pressure me to do something? I'm gonna go on TV and dance. F you.
I wondered though, Ryan, as you say that, and I'm thinking right now that maybe this was done on purpose to have them come out this way so that people like can forget the fact that Saudi Arabia's connected them for a little bit, and you see them dancing around and being human and being funny and having their back and forth, and have Vince come down and go, no one wants to hear you two bicker, blah, 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 dance break. And so maybe that's to kind of smooth the edges out of this whole situation. It could have been a full-on PR move with the fans, with the people watching, because I'm guaranteed there's not a lot of people talking about Saudi Arabia today through the WWE because they enjoyed the 1000th episode.
I mean,
so
it's
maybe
very
that's
much
on purpose.
It's very much a Trumpian type thing where it's like,
don't look at this thing.
Don't look at this thing. Look at this thing.
Deal the keys in your face.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I mean, it makes sense. Absolutely. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. But it was a good segment overall.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was a good segment. Did you see my tweet yesterday from that interview Shane McMahon did?
No. I'm usually up to date on your tweets, too.
I know. And Vinny, who works in the office with us now, he's a wrestling fan. And he told me yesterday when I came in, he was like, that's the first thing I saw this morning, and it disgusted me. I'm so mad. I actually should have brought this up to you yesterday.
Okay.
Shane McMahon did an interview with Opie Radio. I think it's like the guy who used to Opie and Anthony.
Wait, is this the one about the helicopter thing where he willed himself to life?
Well, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was badass.
That was.
But no.
Okay.
That same interview.
Okay.
That part was also equally badass.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say equally because this other part is not badass. That part was badass. This part was gross. The host mentions to Shane, he said something along the lines of like, "Oh, we had Bruce Pritchard here once," and he mentioned how when Stephanie was pregnant, Vince pitched an angle where there'd be like an incest angle between you and Stephanie, and it would be like your kid. And Shane's response goes, wow. Well, my sister is pretty hot, so I guess I wouldn't have really minded it that much.
Oh, my Lord. What?
Now, later in the episode, he clarifies, and he goes, he says something like, I never heard this idea. If I had heard the idea, I would have vetoed it. But the initial response of like, well, my sister's hot, I wouldn't have minded that much. I went like, whoa, I recorded that on my phone, that one part, and tweeted it or whatever, but that part was so gross. And then they come out and they're all doing their playful thing last night, and I couldn't help but think of my that interview I saw that I listened to the whole time when they were talking. It was that other part. Did you listen to the clip with the helicopter part? Because that was interesting. Yeah. For those of you who didn't see it, you should check out the interview. It's actually really interesting. It's Shane talking about all sorts of things. Like he talks about Ronda Rousey, Hulk Hogan, tons of stuff. But one of the most interesting parts, and also we put up a story yesterday on the site that a lot of people loved. One of the things he mentioned in the interview was his kids are big fans of wrestling now. They want to get into the business. And of course. That they text message booking complaints to Vince, which I loved. I was like, oh my God, that's so great. Because Vince McMahon hates getting those text messages.
Oh, I'm sure.
Imagine Vince getting text messages from... He didn't even like taking booking suggestions from Shane back in the day.
Can you imagine?
Imagine like little 15-year-old Shane McMahon's son being like, Grandpa, or Pop, that's what he said he called him, Pop, why are you not pushing Cesaro? You know, like, where is Sasha Banks? Why is Finn Balor so smiley?
Yeah.
You know, why is Asuka not the champion yet?
Pop, what are you doing?
Pop, what are you doing?
Pop, it's so simple to fix. Just do this.
But the other cool part of the interview that Rocha was talking about is he basically talking about he in detail talks about his helicopter crash from last year.
Yep.
And it was gnarly. It was like straight out of an action movie. He basically says that like the pilot started saying Mayday, 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 and then he asked if he could help at all.
Yeah.
And the pilot said, "Can you come up here and just keep pushing this button right here?" And he said, "Yes, I can." He got him. So he got into the cockpit and is in the cockpit with the pilot trying to help while the helicopter is going down.
That's insane.
And he said that he was really calm during the whole thing because he had said to himself, I'm not going to die here today.
Yeah.
I'm not going to die in this helicopter. The pilot, I don't know about him, but I know me, I'm not dying here tonight.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn, Shane's a badass. Shane is a...
Well, it is pretty badass when you survive. I'm sure a lot of people might have thought that in those moments and then died. So, we don't get to know that they thought that and survived.
That's a good point.
But I respect the fact that it's a pretty badass thing for him to say. And you know what? Some people have a force of will that allows them to survive situations for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying they could, like they're going to stop themselves from getting blown up in a helicopter crash, but you never know.
No.
So those kinds of things are there, and the energy you put out. I've seen it happen. So.
What, do you think that this opening to SmackDown, do you think it was too close to the opening of Raw 25 at all? With like a Vince segment?
Maybe, but I think having R-Truth there was different.
Made it a little more goofy as opposed to like the Stone Cold tough guy attitude era vibe.
Right. And this was a little more, because SmackDown was always more of a breezier show. It was always more fun of a show, and they tried new things on SmackDown, what they couldn't do on Raw. And what Stephanie said kind of inadvertently is correct. Which you can argue her truth or not, but we take things a bit more seriously on Raw, or our thing is a little bit better, or blah, blah, blah. Even though Shane's like, this is the A show. Stephanie says, no, we do things a little more seriously.
Well, this is a show. I like when she said that.
Yeah, this is a show. But yeah, it was fun back and forth with all three of them, and I enjoyed it. And I hope Truth TV isn't over. Jesus Christ, people loved it. I think
people are liking it too much for it to be over. Yeah, they're gonna say it got picked up again.
They were literally chanting Truth TV to Vince. Talk about booking suggestions. They were telling him to keep it going.
It's going to be like the Community of WWE,
I guess so, yeah.
Didn't Community get canceled and brought back?
Community did.
Right?
Not get canceled. It was,
They got canceled NBC, and the sixth season was somewhere else, right? Like at Yahoo or something?
Yeah, or Hulu, one of those things.
Hulu, something like that.
Like the Mindy Project and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we move on. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, they took on the Usos here. Look, I got to tell you something. I really like the Usos. I do now. I used to hate them when they were faces and doing all that face paint, all that shit they were doing. It just didn't do it for me. But ever since they went on that heel turn and then kind of came back to kind of that tweener type of status, and especially that Day One-ish shirt is a kick-ass shirt. So overall, I love whenever they come on SmackDown. But they aren't on that much, which is really interesting. So to see them
they weren't for a while, and they've kind of...
and then they've kind of walked away for a little bit. And so to see them taking on AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, to kind of push this narrative of Bryan and Styles, can they get together? I think it worked out. I like this match a lot.
Well, I think I mentioned here a few weeks ago at some point that Jimmy Uso is on the top of my list of like guys that I think have
to break out singles.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Potential to be a breakout singles guy. I think the Usos are very talented. Like I never understood the hate against them when they were faces with the face paint even. Like I've got their toys from that time period. Like I've liked them. Like they've always seemed genuine to me. Like they've always seemed like extensions of themselves, but in an entertaining way. And I've always thought they were entertaining in the ring. But when I saw what this match was, when I saw it was going to be the Usos versus AJ and Daniel, I was like, this is a match I never knew I wanted until right now, and I need it, and I loved it. I thought it was a great match. I thought that the Usos are such a good tag team that you can put them in there with anyone pretty much, and they'll probably put out a passable match. But you put them in there with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, you're going to get a great match. Yeah. And I know that obviously they didn't get a ton of time, but man, because I was surprised that the champion was opening the show. Yeah. Like I was like, really? They're having the champion in the first match? Like, it's kind of weird. And Daniel Bryan and the Usos? Like, these are all, some of the bigger talent on the show right now. And so
yeah.
I was confused, but then I was like, man, this was a good way to kick off things on like hey, SmackDown has always been the wrestling show. And I think that they kind of tried to get that message across where, SmackDown has always kind of been like the work rate heavy show. They have a lot of the guys that put on good matches there when it's brand splits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to kind of celebrate that with this match, and I think they did a great job of doing that.
Right? Yeah. It was so much fun to watch this match. I didn't even want it to end. And I liked the way it ended.
Yeah.
I thought the ending was perfect.
Me too.
Because we see those inadvertent hits between teammates to promote. Like, after years of watching wrestling, you've seen it happen numerous times. This is one of the most flawless ones I've ever seen where it doesn't look overt. It actually looks like it was an accident.
It's a good point.
Right?
Yeah, they did a good job of making it believable.
Yes, and I thought that was really fun. And then you saw the Usos take advantage of it. They weren't kind of fumbling around, oh, we got this advantage all of a sudden. No, they just jumped right on it, took care of business like veterans would do, and got the pin. And then you have you have AJ and Daniel Bryan now having a little bit of problems between them. It's just to head into the match. So I liked it overall.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They got the job done.
And I liked the fact that the tag team won.
Yeah.
I get that the champion was in the match, but these are two guys that, are tag team wrestlers. They know how to take advantage of these opportunities. That's what they do. That's what they do on a weekly basis. So I felt like even though the champion was on the losing team, I was like, totally cool with this.
Yeah.
Nobody lost anything out of it. If anything, people gained out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I very much was a fan of this match, and I would kind of want to see it again.
Yeah, I would be down to see it again, and I would be down to see the Usos come back into the tag team picture now with what happens later on in the show. I'm like, okay, let's get them rolling in here. At least I like that. What do they have? An 8-man tag a few weeks ago or whatever. I didn't mind it, and I thought they were really great in it. So
sounds familiar. Yeah, I think
they didn't win,
yeah.
but I like them being in it. So hopefully they will find their way back into the tag team picture, especially now who has the tag team titles now. It's fun.
When's the next? Not brand split. When's the next draft?
Oh gosh.
Well, where are we at right now? WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So right after WrestleMania will be the next shakeup or whatever, probably. So it's like 6 months from now, probably.
April 17th was the last shakeup this year. This is this year. So a few months, like 5 months.
Where are we at? So 5-6 months.
5-6 months. Yeah.
The Usos need to go back to Raw.
Oh, you think?
I think the Usos need to go back to Raw.
That'd be a good way to revitalize the tag team division over there.
To be honest with you, I know I've mentioned earlier, I would split them up. I would do one of those things.
Ooh.
I would split the Usos up, send Jimmy to Raw as a singles talent.
Yeah.
I think he could. I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like if he was helping Roman out every once in a while and wasn't necessarily connected to his brother, I think he could have a successful face run. I think Jay could have a successful heel run too if they let him be a heel.
Yeah.
I don't know why. He just strikes me as more of a heel. Jimmy strikes me as more of a natural face. I just could see it. So I don't know. But yes, very nice to see all 4 of these guys get a showcase here like that.
Well, speaking of 4 guys that got a showcase, now we move on to Evolution. This is what we're kind of teasing at the beginning of the show here. Them walking out, Triple H coming out, then Flair, then Orton, then Batista. Of all people, Batista. I had no idea he was going to show up.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, I had no idea. I try to stay off that stuff, man.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, because I want to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
There was a time in the early 2000s, late 90s where I was on every wrestling site, and so I could not be surprised. So I could prepare for it and see how they did it. Blah, blah, blah. But now I do like staying off it because I like being surprised by what I see. And I'll read occasional articles, obviously on Wrestling Sheet. I will read it when I want to get involved and find out what's happening. Yeah, plug. It's a good site. You should go and read the articles there. I do enjoy doing that. So with this, I didn't know this was gonna. I didn't know they were gonna be. I didn't know they were coming. I didn't know Batista was gonna be there. So to have them come, and then each of them had their moment to speak about their time in Evolution, but also the time about the business, right? And each one has their own different personalities. It is so weird. Batista is a interesting cat, man, on so many levels, right? Because Triple H did his thing, Flair did his thing, Orton did his thing. They got him heel because he's still a heel on SmackDown, which worked. But then Batista kind of walking around the ring and saying the things he was saying. Sometimes you liked me, sometimes you hated me, but I loved you. And you could tell he's got unfinished business that he'd like to tell the fans about because of his second run back when he came back through the Guardians of Galaxy time.
No, it was right before Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right before Guardians of the Galaxy.
It was the Daniel Bryan when he came back and everyone hated him because of Daniel Bryan.
Right.
Which sucked because The only reason people disliked him was because they loved Daniel Bryan. It was
exactly.
And Vince was like, no, pay no attention to the little bearded man over here. Here is my God, Batista. And everyone was like, no, we want Daniel Bryan. You know, and even me, I'm a huge Batista fan.
Yeah.
And even I was like, what's happening?
Oh, me too.
Daniel Bryan is a thing right now.
Right.
Ride that wave. Yeah. Like, that is a wave that you need to get on. I
bet his grandkids were texting him too. What are you doing, Dad? What are you doing, Pop? What are you doing, Pop?
So, but I do think that because of that, there has been this there's been this cloud over Batista of like, well, they're gonna boo him again, and you're like, guys, he was in one of the biggest movies of all time now since that time. Like, two of them. Like, well.
He's in 2 franchises.
That's what I was saying. Well, has he been in 2 or 3 Marvel movies?
He's been in 3 because he was in Infinity War.
Infinity War, right?
And both Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. So he's been in 3 of like the biggest movies of all time. We don't know.
Well,
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens with James Gunn.
James Gunn comments, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I know my girlfriend and I were discussing that because we were like, with that whole snap thing, they can easily write anyone they want.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like they could easily say like, oh, Drax is in a different realm where he's with his family again now and he doesn't want to come back.
Right.
Done.
As soon as I heard Ruffalo say that they're still improving the ending a few weeks ago, I was like, oh yeah, anything's possible now.
Yeah. I think that there's been this fear that he was going to get majorly booed though because of that Daniel Bryan thing. So I was glad that didn't happen. I was glad that he got a big ovation. Yeah. And like you said, he clearly has unfinished business. I mean, he has gone on a campaign saying that he wants to wrestle Triple H at WrestleMania. He wants to for a few months come back and build towards that program at WrestleMania where he can retire. This, I think, proved because we've seen, you might stay away from the reports, but I did a story a while back, not that long ago, where they completely ghosted Batista. Like Batista was in talks with them for something, and then he said like, "Hey, what's up?" And they it was the WrestleMania match at with Ronda Rousey.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, "Hey, we want you in the spot." He was like, "Great," and then after like texting, they ghosted him, and so he was bummed about it, and so
The Rock ended up getting that spot, I think, right?
No, Kurt Angle ended up getting that spot, right?
Oh, right, Kurt Angle.
But that thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's what it was for.
Okay.
So because of that, like, I think there's been this weird, vibe around Batista. So I was glad they got past it. I was glad that they cheered him. I was glad that he kind of roundabout way addressed the weirdness of like you've booed me sometimes, you've hated me sometimes, but I'm here for you guys. And I thought that was good for him to show everyone like, guys, I'm with you. Like I love wrestling because he does. He loves wrestling more than anything, So I loved the whole segment, and I loved they gave him a chance to finally build towards the Triple H match he's been wanting.
Yeah.
Because the seed was planted for hardcore, and it was so good the way it was done. Because he was so chill. He was like chill, like, what's up, I'm Hollywood, I wear red glasses now, like I'm cool, like, oh yeah, my boys. Except for you. It was like, oh, that was so good. I loved it, man. Like, I think his time in acting is what helped that a lot.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Batista was ever someone who was, heralded for his promo skills.
Right,
He mentioned that this is like the last place I want to be is holding this microphone.
Yeah.
But you can't deny that he's been in a lot of movies now. He has a lot of experience acting. I mean, I know he had a lot of experience in entertainment and acting in WWE prior.
Right.
But now he's had work with big directors. Yeah. He has been on movie sets. It's a different beast. It's completely different, and I think that it helped. It clearly helped him because he had that whole crowd in the palm of his hand. I mean, they were just waiting on his every word. They were pumped on it.
He actually understands nuance, and complexity in a situation.
Yes,
and it's small things. And yes, you're going to say, "Oh, it's pro wrestling. You don't need that." You do. The best ones understand nuance.
Absolutely,
the best ones do, and you could tell in that situation he knew exactly when to hit that beat to turn to Triple H and say, "He's done everything there is in the business." except beat me.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh shit. And you're like, oh, and then they hugged. You almost had that Ronda Rousey like, oh shit. But then they hugged. But then they had that great close up on Triple H going, I'm going to kick the shit out of you when I get the chance. So that's going to happen, I guess, is what you're saying. They're building to it. And
well, I mean, I don't know if that's the plan. I just think that, like, clearly it's something Triple H it's something Batista has badly wanted.
Yeah.
And they clearly let him build to it a little bit here. So I mean, I did a poll on the Wrestling Sheet page on like if this is something that people would want to see now.
Yeah.
It was a resounding yes.
Wow.
Like, it was resounding. I said, I want to say it was like 95% of people said they wanted to see it. Here, I'm pulling it up right here. It was, I said, Dave Bautista has repeatedly said he wants to return to WWE for a WrestleMania match against Triple H. After tonight, do you want to see it? And 88% said yes.
Yeah.
With over 5,000 votes.
Wow.
So,
okay.
I mean, seems like a slightly good barometer.
I'm down for it.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, they had that, what was it, Hell in a Cell match that was, or Vengeance, whatever that was a fantastic match that was there. So I would love to see them do it again. And they have great chemistry. And I just wonder if Batista, like, you know, Rock came back and pulled a rib. You know, can Batista, like, because it's different when you're doing it for wrestling,
of course,
versus when you're training for a film, right? The amount of work that you're putting in, you're leaner.
Well, that was even remember
kind
at the time when Batista came back last time.
Yeah.
That was the big complaint from CM Punk when he walked out. And I know that Batista wasn't necessarily the reason for Punk walking out. But I remember Punk being frustrated that Batista came back and he felt like Batista wasn't in ring shape. It wasn't that he wasn't in shape.
Right.
Obviously, Batista is crazy in shape.
Yeah, yes.
It was that he felt like Batista wasn't in ring shape and he was still getting a main event push and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does play a difference. It factors in absolutely. I think there's enough time though to be able to work around it.
I hope so, and you know, hopefully we'll see what his schedule's like, because clearly he's not doing a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 anytime soon.
Well, and Batista,
he's got time.
If I recall, in that Chris Jericho interview where he went into detail talking about the Triple H stuff, if I recall, I mean, he has said like he wants to come back not like as a part timer.
Yeah.
He wants to come back and do house shows. Like he's like, no, I want to come back and do a full few months building towards me versus Triple H, house shows, going everywhere with them. I want to come back for a few months. Right. That's like, why wouldn't you take him up on that offer? I mean, like, I mean, I would think. I mean, like, I
would take him up.
I just feel like people want to see that more than Undertaker right now, even. Like, and maybe that's a sacrilegious thing for me to say, but like, Undertaker is not where he's been.
Oh.
What?
This from Mr. Lita and Trish over here. All of a sudden.
No. That's not comparable. No. That's not comparable at all, because Undertaker
not as popular. Oh.
No, I didn't say not as popular. I said, no, that's not what I said. Get out of here, twisting my words. Also, most people tweeted me saying that you were wrong.
What?
So.
What? That's not true. That's not what I saw.
Oh, you saw one person that tagged you.
Like
I saw all the others that
didn't
tag you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because they're cowards. They know I come at people on Twitter. All right, well, we'll see what happens with it. I'm excited. Go ahead.
I forgot. We should mention how great was Randy Orton here too.
Yeah, dude. I'm saying, but that's how you stay within a parameters of what you've been handed with the Evolution and still work your current angle, which is the heel stuff, which was great. So.
Absolutely, I loved it. I wanted to give props to him because I think I am hard on the Randy Orton character, but that was crazy entertaining. Like when he did all that, like, oh, you're off making movies, like you're up there, you're here, like I'm here, I'm
day in and day out,
I liked
taking hits, building it up.
Yeah, I liked
Still evolving.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Well, real quick, we'll move on to these other matches, but like real quick, where do you think Evolution stable is actually at? Because it was like here and gone. It was not a long running stable.
I think that's why it's not on the list of like.
Yeah.
Well, it's why it won't be considered like one of the greatest of all time.
It's not a top 10 for me.
No, because of its short run.
Right.
But
the people involved is top 10.
People involved is like, it's like, man, those are some names, you know, like those are some real names. So it's a tough one, because if you look at it, like where Batista and Randy Orton were prior to Evolution, I mean, they were newbies at the time. They were, I mean, granted they'd been wrestling and it wasn't their first outing. They'd been, wrestling, but like, this was their big break, and look what's happened with both of them. There's not a lot of groups where being put. Not a lot of wrestlers where being put in a group did that for them.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are because of evolution. They got to become legends. I mean, those two guys are legends.
They did, and they had great storylines.
Yeah.
And really fun stuff. But unfortunately, it wasn't long enough. So, but
do you think they'll go in the Hall of Fame evolution?
Yeah, probably eventually. I mean. It's not real, so yeah, I guess they'll go in.
It's not real.
If they want to put him in, they'll put him in. But
I like
oh,
that
you mean
answer.
like Hall of Fame, like where they go and do a speech? And
Yeah,
yeah, maybe like 10 years down the road, maybe. You know, because like
Flair would be dead by then.
Stop it.
10
Flair's
years?
gonna outlive us all, dude.
10 years, dude.
Come on, he's gonna be wooing.
How old is Flair?
Dude, I don't know.
I love Ric Flair, but
because
that's
watching that 30 for 30
10
documentary,
years?
there's nothing I believe that he says out of his mouth. So I mean, you know,
He almost died this year.
yeah, but so did Jerry and King, and he's still kicking it.
Are they the same age? Isn't Ric Flair a lot older than J Lo?
I don't think he's a lot older.
How old is Ric Flair?
He's got to be Hogan's age, right? Like 62, something like that. He can't be that old.
Ric Flair is 69 years old.
Yep.
Nice. 10 years. I guess. All right. 10 years. I guess. All right. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm speaking too soon.
What? He's 69.
He's 69. You can live to 79.
Yeah.
He's at a long. If Ric Flair.
Look, for 69, he's got a lot of moves still left in him. A lot of woos.
Yeah, it's funny. Last night when
he just got married, dude.
It was the best. Last night when we were watching SmackDown, my girlfriend said, "Space Mountain." Why do they call Ric Flair? They call Ric Flair Space Mountain, and I said, "Yeah." She said, "Why do they call Ric Flair Space Mountain?" I said, "Because all the girls want to ride Space Mountain."
That's right.
And I was like, "Oldest ride, longest line." And she was like, "Of course."
Whenever someone says "of course," they slightly respect it.
Yeah, no,
they
she did.
Slightly respect
she did.
It. Yeah.
When she got it, she was like, "All right,
All right.
I get it. Of course, all right, I get it."
I hadn't heard the oldest
ride, longest line.
I hadn't heard that until Jay Lethal did it when he was imitating him, and Flair lost his shit. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
That's my line. That's my line. That was brilliant, and I hadn't heard it before, and I was like, "Oh, that's genius, man." And then people were like, "Yeah, he's been saying that for a long time." Oh, my bad. Anyway, good stuff here. We'll see what happens with Batista and Triple H down the road. But I think they probably did this also to kind of start this process in Batista's hometown in Washington, D.C.
Totally.
Which is where, and that's why I love Dave, because A, he's a Latino. B,
No, he's not.
What?
No,
he's Filipino. I'm sorry.
Filipino.
I thought he was Latino for a long time. So let me say that, because I got corrected by that on Movie Talk one time as well. I thought it was Latino for the longest time because of Batista. It just seemed to make sense to me.
I won't fault you for it.
And I grew up in Virginia/DC, so to me, I felt a special affinity for him for that. So when he became champion and was successful, I've always been in Batista's corner. Plus, when you hear his story about what he came from, the poverty, what his mom had to do to survive, and what he had to do to survive, like you feel it's the Rock story in another town.
Absolutely.
Essentially.
Absolutely.
Except that Batista's dad wasn't a wrestler or anything like that. But it's another story in another town. Poor kid having to make it on his own, having to fight, blah, blah, blah. So that
Batista's a success story, man.
Yeah.
Like I love Batista.
Yeah.
Like Batista's one of the guys when I got out of wrestling who got me back into it. You know,
yeah.
I was out of it, and then I started watching Batista and John Cena were like the guys coming up at that time, and I super loved it. So he's got a great story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, what you said right there that I wanted to.
What, the Filipino stuff?
Oh yeah, I tweeted an unpopular food opinion last night. Someone tweeted. I saw
you and your mayonnaise.
Yeah, I like mayonnaise on French fries.
You white boy, you like the mayonnaise?
Well, so
you ain't Latino.
That's funny because I had all these people respond to me calling me fucking white, and I was like, hey man, I'm Hispanic, and they were like, well, you got white taste buds, motherfucker, you know? And I was like, oh, man, dude. One guy said that my Latino card is revoked for 48 hours as they look into it and decide if I'm allowed to keep it.
I need to see that guy's credentials before he takes your card. I'll decide if he gets his Latino card revoked or not. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so, that whole thread was a bit uncomfortable as it kept going because some people got, like, some of those responses were a bit racist. So.
Sounds like pretty much all the threads that end up forming out of my tweets. They like start off fun and then it starts just getting out of control.
Devolves as it goes through the down. Well, speaking of
don't get too deep in the replies of my Twitter.
Yeah, you really shouldn't. Speaking of devolving, Rusev versus The Miz happened. And it was so boring.
Did it?
And so waste of time. Yeah, right, exactly. Aiden English rolled in there and got Miz the victory. And then Lana kicked him in the ding-ding. And then...
Lana kicked him in the ding ding.
And then
she should make a shirt that says that. Lana kicked him in the ding ding.
Shout out to Eddie Murphy on that one. And then he throws Aiden through the announce table. What did this prove?
Is that from an old Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, you've seen Raw. It's
of course, I've seen Raw.
Well, he didn't remember it.
Well, I don't remember all of them.
At the beginning of Raw, when he's the little kid, he's talking about the monkey in the tree.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He goes, "I want to see stars. You want to see stars?" And he kicked him in the ding ding.
Yes. Okay, yes.
And then Sam's like, "That boy is funny. That boy is funny." Anyway, what did you think of this? Did this make any sense? Do we even need to talk about it? I don't know.
Not really. I get it continued on.
Right.
I think it's more funny, this World Cup thing. The World Cup,
Yeah.
This whole World Cup stuff. And Rusev making a joke of it on Twitter has been my favorite thing, of him being like, if everyone in the World Cup is American, does that mean we can call it the U.S. Open now? That cracked me up today. I was like, that's such a good point. It's ridiculous they're calling this the World Cup.
I saw something on Lily White American World Cup. There's one Latino person.
I saw something, and I hate that I don't remember where, but I want to say it was a report somewhere that said that who has the actual World Cup? Was it like Qatar?
Oh, Qatar, yeah.
Qatar, right?
Yeah, or Qatar, however you want to say it. Yeah.
It said that Qatar,
2022,
that they have the World Cup, and Saudi Arabia was unhappy about it, so that's why they had WWE name this World Cup, because they were unhappy that they lost out on the actual World Cup to Qatar. Now, I don't know if they were ever in the running for it. I don't follow all that, but it kind of made sense when I saw that.
Certainly possible.
Especially seeing all the reports about everything about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
I don't have that knowledge offhand right now, but I do follow the World Cup stuff all the time, and who gets who gets it, who doesn't, who's in the running, what happens, that kind of thing.
Was that semi-recently?
It's certainly, the decisions were made semi-recent, like 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
For 18, 22, 26.
Okay.
Because the U.S. and I think the U.S. and Canada or U.S. and Mexico got 20. I think it's U.S. and Mexico got 2026. So yeah, Saudi Arabia might have been in the running
2026.
Yeah. Because
USA got that?
USA/Mexico. So it's going to be both countries hosting, which is weird.
Seems silly having a soccer World Cup out here.
Yeah.
I know the kids play soccer out here.
Well, it's growing, man. The MLS has 20-some teams
I've been hearing that since I was a little kid.
Yeah, well, these teams survive somehow, bro.
Honestly,
20,000 seat stadiums.
It does surprise me that it's lasted this long, because I remember when it started out here. I remember when the Galaxies came, when all that started out here,
right?
And it shocked me that it's still around out here.
Oh yeah, I used to be a DC United. I am a DC. I used to go to all the games in 96, 97, and 98 before I left.
That's like when it started, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I thought. Okay,
I went to a lot of the home games with my dad. We had a contingent of people that would go. We would take a whole row. And we would just go and cheer on DC United. And that was when they were winning the championships. And so it was when Bruce Arena was the coach.
Like, it almost feels to me like as if the XFL were still around. Like, that's how I think of it. That's how I think of MLS out here. Like, like Kobe Jones.
Take that back, sir. You take that back right now. The MLS was never the XFL. They never tried to change the rules like that. They did change some rules. They didn't change the rules like that.
I just mean more in terms of, I remember when both were launched when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And both have been so out of my peripheral that, honestly, I'm surprised to hear that Major League Soccer is still a thing out here. The fact that you said there's 26 teams just now, or whatever, 23 or 26, right? Is that what you said?
That's a lot.
That's a lot of teams. I didn't realize there's that many. I also don't follow sports very well. So,
fair enough.
When I heard that WNBA was still around, I was like, really? Didn't know that.
What?
I don't know. I say it shouldn't be around. It's just not on my radar. It's not like you hear people talking about the WNBA all the time.
People do not talk about WNBA.
It's a thing that exists, but you don't hear people all the time going hey, did you see that crazy WNBA video, highlight? I don't see that all the time. I don't know.
No, it's a good point.
Same for soccer. I've literally never seen and I don't follow a lot of sports stuff.
Yeah.
But I follow some sports sites.
You do?
And I'm like, you never really see this crazy soccer highlight that everyone's talking about. But soccer is one of the most popular things all around the world.
There's 23 teams in the MLS.
Okay, 23, okay.
And LAFC is their first season right now. They're the new LA team.
So wait, that's
There's
different than Galaxy?
There's different than Galaxy.
There's two LA teams?
Yeah.
Wait a second. We have two?
Who's this wee bullshit? You don't even watch.
Los Angeles has two soccer teams?
Yeah, we used to have two. Because you had Chivas USA, which is an extension of the Chivas
Which I remember
club
that
from
kind
Mexico.
of vaguely, because I did a story on them with TMZ.
Oh, right on. And then you had, of course, Galaxy's always been here. And then LAFC is the new one now. Bob Bradley is the coach, and it's a badass scheme. It's gold with black.
Do those guys make money?
Yeah, they have to stay alive as teams. They make money, and now they're individually owned. Like when it first started, it was like one person or one owner having like 3 or 4 teams. So it was Stan Kroenke and other people. I think Ann Schultz was one of these guys. They had multiple teams, and so now everybody has their own team. So now it's legitimate competition.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's legitimate. And they put butts and they build new stadiums. Like
Crazy.
LAFC is in a new stadium. DC United is, I think they're building a new stadium for DC United. So a lot of these new, like Carson was the new home for LA Galaxy. That was huge when they built that stadium. It was like a big deal. I think 98, 99,
yeah, I remember,
2000.
I remember going to that when I was a kid.
So
because when I played soccer when I was a kid, you know?
Exactly. And there's a lot of clubs now that have their own stadiums built specifically for them.
Crazy.
With 20,000. So they're averaging, I think they average about anywhere from 16 to 18,000 a game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Is it on TV?
Yeah, it's on TV. It's on ESPN all the time.
Interesting.
And I think on Fox as well, FS1 or one of those things. And the Spanish channels, definitely. I see MLS all the time.
See, that, when you say Mexico for World Cup, that I believe. Because I'm like, well, Mexico, they love soccer. You go there, they're soccer fanatics. You know, but out here, it's just, it's weird how you like.
I get it.
It's just weird because like when you, like, growing up, everyone plays soccer. Like everyone plays soccer, but then like they get over it at some point, and then like it's weird. I've always thought it was weird.
But so many transplants, and I know this isn't a soccer bio, but there's so many transplants.
I'm fascinated.
From other countries come to live here in the United States, so that's how the game has grown.
But wouldn't they make more money playing it in other countries?
They do, but the guys who come over aren't usually like, the guys in their prime.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're getting like second-rate guys here, right? Kind of like CFL gets second-rate NFL guys.
Yeah, maybe, no, not really, because Wayne Rooney was a star for a long time. He's at DC United. You have David Villa, who's over at New York, the New York team. And so there's a number of players that come over that are just a little bit past their prime, but still damn good. But like Ibrahimovic is over here. Zlatan is playing for the LA Galaxy. So you get a number of players that come over from other countries that were superstars for their teams and then come over. Like Beckham came and played for so many years. He still had it. So yeah, the quality is not at the same level as the European leagues, the main European leagues. Maybe the lower division European leagues, yes, but not the main top ones. But it's enough that people come and enjoy the games, and there's enough rivalry. Like Portland, dude, Portland is madness. If you want to go down a wormhole for soccer, go and watch Portland highlights of the fans, like just for like 5 minutes. It'll blow your mind. They have songs, they have banners they unfurl that are stadium size.
The fandom of soccer, I believe, when I went to England recently. I did not realize how crazy they are.
Massive, dude.
And like, you know, if you're here in LA and like, you know, like someone buys like if I walk by a guy in a Celtics jersey, I'm not gonna be like, fuck you, Celtics fan, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I was where was I? Oh, I forget exactly where I was, but I was cold. I was so cold, and I didn't have a scarf. So I walked into a store and I bought a Manchester United scarf.
Fuck you, man.
And I didn't know the difference. I literally bought it for the color. I bought it strictly for the red because it matched what I was wearing. Yep. So I bought it not knowing that I think is their number one rival Liverpool. So I was in a Liverpool area.
Yeah. Oh,
and I didn't know. I just walked into a store because I was in a touristy area.
First of all,
they had all the different teams, and I'm like, give me the red one. And I just put the fucking red one on. The rest of my trip in that area was awful.
Yep.
Because everywhere I went, people were just like, fuck Manchester United, mate. You know, and I was like, I don't even watch soccer. I just thought this was cool color. I saw someone get beat up when I literally like had to put my Manchester in my pocket because I saw someone get the shit kicked out of them for yelling Manchester United at a Liverpool guy on the street. And I was like, let's not be involved in this. I don't even watch soccer. So yeah, if you're like me and don't watch soccer and you go to the UK, you're a wrestling fan going there, don't make that mistake.
Look, it's Crips and Bloods. You got to understand.
It really is. It's crazy.
You got to understand.
Yeah, I learned my lesson the hard way.
Yeah, it's no joke. Even here in the States, I go to a Liverpool bar to watch Liverpool games. And if someone walks in the jersey of another team, there is all kinds of comments amongst us about we think of that person for walking in here, having the guts or the balls to walk in here wearing a shirt from the other, like Chelsea or a Manchester United shirt. You get caught up in the groupthink, man. You really do get caught up in the frenzy of it. Like I couldn't imagine with a bat or anything, but like you get caught up in it.
Like I couldn't imagine being at a WWE show and a guy in a Lucha Underground shirt sits next to me, and I'm like, you piece of shit. We're in WWE territory right now. This is New York territory, buddy. Get your Mexican lucha shit out of here.
Lucha
You know,
sucks, dude.
Fuck Lucha Underground. You know, I wouldn't do that. You know, so these things are all these concepts are all very foreign to me. Everyone, I apologize.
Well, speaking of, by the way, shout out to the English Premier League show we do here, Collider EPL on the Collider Sports. If you want to learn more about soccer, want to hear about the teams that do play in England, we don't fight each other. Jack Hind and I host the show over there on the Collider Sports YouTube channel and podcast.
I feel like you guys fight each other sometimes on there.
Yeah,
we not physically.
Not physically. We've had verbal battles. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen Jack get into verbal battles just on regular things out here. I feel like when it comes to soccer, I feel like he has to be very passionate.
He does, and he's an Arsenal fan. So, and I'm a Liverpool fan. So it happens.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. All right. Fine. And maybe there's been one physical. But anyway, all right. Speaking of people who are getting into it, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair now. Becky Lynch came out to be a guest of the returning Edge, the Cutting Edge, who I am very proud that I interviewed Edge one time for a 40-minute interview way back when, 3 or 4 years ago when I had a show. And he was very gracious, very nice guy, very open about stuff. So to see him coming back, I've always respected Edge. I think he's one of these people that we're all like, what could have been? Because he had to retire so early because of his neck. And guess who didn't forget that? Becky. Holy shit. They had a nice, fun back and forth. Edge was trying to school, you make these decisions. Sometimes there's not a way back. You burn the bridges, blah, 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 blah. And you thought Becky maybe, and dude, she's on another level right now. Just for a second, she's just like, yeah, man. And then boom, just destroyed him. And then said, don't hurt your neck climbing through the ropes. Oh.
Well, you spoke of nuance earlier in this episode with Bautista. And I think she played it perfectly there, where she was like, you thought that maybe she was thinking about it, like, maybe he makes a point, and then she just flipped it on him, like, get out of here, old timer. Dude. Like, for me personally, Edge, great character. Yeah. But I've never felt like Edge. I've always felt like Edge's strength was his promo skills. I mean, Edge, the character, is great. Like, he's entertaining to listen to. He's good at getting you to pay attention to him. Yeah. Like, he brings you in. He sucks you in. And I thought he did a really good job of that here. Pinning that, I also like that we got long hair Edge back.
Yes.
We've seen short hair Edge in WWE for the past couple of years.
Always weird.
Which was kind of weird.
It's still weird.
It's still in that middle phase where it's not quite where it used to be because it's a little pretty right now.
Too pretty.
It's too pretty.
I don't like too pretty.
It is pretty right now, but it's very conditioned. But it was nice seeing him have his long hair back. But yes, the promo itself, man, Edge is so good at bringing you in and taking you along for a ride. Yeah. And he did a really good job of that here of when he was mentioning it'll all lead to you sitting at home, looking at all your title belts on the wall, but you'll be alone. Yeah. And I was like, damn, that was deep. That whole promo was kind of deep, especially Edge was an extremely villainous character.
Yes, he was.
He had times where he was a fun, happy babyface, but the Edge that has become a Hall of Famer. The Edge that is the rated R superstar is like this shitty guy who will do whatever to whoever in order to make his way to the top. I mean, he's the guy that made Money in the Bank thing, basically. Yeah. Well, the cash in the way that we know it to be. So I loved it. I thought he did such a good job of bringing you along and making you feel bad for him. Yeah. After all the bad things that he has done, and it was nice to see a real spin on a villainous character that we get in WWE. It's not a lot of times where we see a villain like that who gets real like that, who breaks it down in a way of it's me and that's me and my friend doing a podcast now or whatever, but where are all my friends? Why am I not getting invited to this? Why am I not getting, and I like that, I thought it was really well done, that whole segment. And Becky is just on another level right now. She's doing so well. And I was right, everyone. I was right. Because I don't care what you say. Becky is not a face right now.
No.
Becky is a heel.
Becky's full heel.
They're cheering for her.
Yeah.
But Becky's a heel.
Yep.
And it's the best thing that happened for her, which is exactly what I said when everyone was rebelling against her initial heel turn, saying, why would you turn Becky heel?
Wow, really?
Well, remember we were on this show.
Yeah, I know.
Remember we got into it over it about how, and I said, mark my words, in a few months, everyone's going to think it was silly that they were against Becky becoming a heel because it's going to be the best thing for her career. And look at now. Yeah. She literally mocked a WWE Hall of Famer's career-ending neck injury. and got cheered for it.
She did.
She fucking mocked Edge's neck injury.
And the way she did it is the setup, which is really smart. She said, "Oh no, I love myself," which is in a way like kind of taking advantage of what is going on nowadays with this touchy-feely, like, therapy, which is all positive, but it took that and twisted the message around a little bit, and you're like, oh damn, that's brilliant. And then the shot at Edge, and then of course Charlotte comes out, and they have the back and forth, and they fight on the ring and get separated, blah blah blah. But like the thing that's interesting to me, dude, and as I was watching this segment, I thought to myself, for the first time ever, like, she has a real chance to eclipse all three of these other women, like Becky, Charlotte. She has a chance to eclipse Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley.
Yeah.
There's a real opportunity for her to step past, and no one thought this. Like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, when she was taking all those losses, nobody thought this would be possible, except maybe her.
Well, even rewind to when the Four Horsewomen got brought up and Bayley was left behind or whatever, or any of the times, you always kind of thought like, well, Bayley got held back because she's going to be like the future of this division. She's going to be like the female John Cena, and now like look at the difference between the two. Now instead of saying female John Cena for Bayley, you're saying female Stone Cold Steve Austin for Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
That's a huge compliment,
There's no going back.
No going back.
No going
and
back.
there's no one saying that Bayley is like the female John Cena anymore, unfortunately. And even, Sasha, like, her place in the card is, but we talked about this. It's a bummer. We talked about this on the Raw recap.
Yeah.
It's like not really doing much with her. And man, Becky is closing shows.
Yeah.
Becky is like being put in the same light as like top talent.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a huge thing for her. And you're right. I don't think anyone would have predicted that 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. I love it though.
She is leaving even Charlotte behind. And that's
She is.
shocking.
Right?
Shocking.
Although I don't know about in the eyes of Vince McMahon.
No, of course not.
But yes, in terms of like entertainment, yeah. I think she, man, like that attitude has brought a whole new level to her. We talked about this where it doesn't feel like there's heels and faces anymore. It feels like the reactions. And I was saying Charlotte's talked about it. Man, they need to do this with Finn now. They need to do this with Finn Balor ASAP.
Absolutely.
Every week that I watch Becky, I go, why wouldn't she do this with Finn too?
Yeah.
Look what it's doing.
Yep.
Stop having Finn smile with Bayley and go have him kick some ass.
Yeah.
Go have him beat some people up. Go have him stop smiling.
Yeah.
Lose that smile that is making everyone angry. Go be tough Finn Balor again, and you got money, printing money.
That's what people want to see now, man. They don't want to see the straight faces smiling and being happy. No, they want to see edge. They want to see an edge to the facedom.
It's weird how we're almost going back to the Attitude Era in
We're
absolutely
going back to Attitude Era in so many ways.
Like, it's like the Attitude Era, the PC Attitude Era, because it's like, it's very PC still.
Yeah.
But, the Attitude Era was very much like that, where if you go look back at the Attitude Era, you go like, that guy was a face?
Yeah.
Look what he was doing, though. Or vice versa. Like, that guy was a heel. Look what he was doing.
Austin got away with so much shit being a face.
He put a gun to his boss's head.
Look,
it was a fake gun. It ended up being a fake gun, but he pulled a gun to his boss's head.
He tied up a human being and put him in a meat locker. He taped Scott Hall to a chair and put him in a meat locker.
He put cement in an awesome car that the car didn't do anything.
Yeah, he caused numerous millions of dollars of property damage. It
feels like we're starting to go that way a little bit more.
And good.
Yeah, good. Is it good?
It is for me. I love it, but I'm not a kid. So a kid, maybe a parent with a child, is like, oh, shit. Maybe, but I like it.
Here's my thing with it. I think that you can't dip your toes into the water doing it. You have to either go full into it or not,
Maybe, and I think that's the problem on Raw.
I think that's the problem on Raw too. I think you either have to go all in with it or not. And so I think that's the problem. I think on NXT, there are clear-cut faces and heels.
Right.
And they stick with that and it works.
Yep.
So I don't think necessarily you have to do the gray area thing to be successful. But if you're going to do it, I just want them to go full with it.
Yeah.
And have everyone be under those rules.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a reaction to what we see going on in society now, this idea of wanting their faces to have a little edge to them instead of being like the participation trophies and all this. That's the fan base. That's a majority of the fan base that does not like this idea of everybody gets a trophy, everybody gets to win. No, they want to be upset, they want to be angry, they want to fight, they want to still feel good about themselves while they're cutting you down.
True. Very true.
And so you feel that, and that's certainly what they're seeing reflected now in WWE. Whoever's in creative, at least on SmackDown side, seems to understand that and doing it well. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So we got the New Day taking on The Bar, and out of nowhere, The Big Show shows up to help counter Big E and The Bar. What a surprise this was, I think, I don't know if you'd been writing about it already, but it was a surprise to me.
It was surprising to me too.
And we had just been talking about him on a Raw recap, how he flips heel to face all the time. And he came down, grabbed, was it Xavier Woods?
I believe. Nope. Wasn't it Kofi?
It was a Kofi, yeah, and then chokeslammed him. And then
was it Kofi?
And then they beat up Big E. Was it Kofi?
I just remember I forget which one it was. I just remember Big E's face in the ring watching it, which was pretty good.
Yeah,
where he just had that look of just like,
yeah,
what have I seen? What's happening? I like that.
Yeah, The Bar watched Big Show Big Show delivered chokeslam to Kofi.
That's what I thought. Yeah, okay.
Through the announce table, and then Big E was like, "What the hell is going on?" And then they took care of business and they pinned Kofi. So pinned a Big E. So what is it? This is the first time they've beaten the Bar, right? Or the Bar's beaten New Day, right?
They've wrestled so many times. It's hard to say because they wrestled on Raw too. So
okay, all right.
I forget. I don't know if it's the first time they've beaten them, but it's definitely first time since they've come back and the whole move on SmackDown and stuff. And I think it was the right move.
Yeah, I agree.
Not every title reign has to be long.
Yeah.
Not everyone. And I think that you might as well strike while the iron's hot with the Bar. I think people are very accepting of the Bar being champions right now.
Yeah. They've earned it.
They've earned it.
Yeah.
They're on a little bit of a hot. They're feeling hot right now, and I think it makes sense to do that. I think I personally was into it. I think it was a good call. I like James's tweet from the Wrestling Sheet account during the show where he said it wouldn't be a SmackDown 1000th episode celebration without another Big Show heel turn, or because it's like, man, Big Show really does turn all the time.
He does.
It's silly to this point, and we mentioned it recently that it's like he's the one that's like the example of someone who turns face and heel too often that we don't want Braun Strowman to become that. So I don't know if I necessarily care about the Big Show turn.
Okay. But you like him as a member of this team with the Bar? To kind of counter Big E?
I'm going to stay reserved on it.
Okay.
Because
I like it. It gives him something to do. Hopefully he doesn't have to wrestle that much.
That's my thing.
Okay.
Is that I just don't want to see Big Show wrestling all the time anymore.
I agree.
Is that we already have Randy Orton on SmackDown, and SmackDown only has 2 hours. Part of the show is filled by Randy Orton. I don't need Big Show filling another part of that guy I have to deal with. You know, I think he's a great wrestler. He's super entertaining, but it's just he's overexposed. And especially we just saw on Raw. It just seems like they're just throwing him out there. To be honest with you, this is my problem with all of WWE at the current moment.
Yes.
Is that they know you're going to watch. No matter what, they know you're going to watch. So they don't care about putting a lot of effort into it. And that's what's bothering me, the evolution build. Just kind of seems that they know you're going to watch if you're going to watch, so they're just throwing it out there. Raw, SmackDown, they know you're going to watch, so they're just throwing out what's going on. I just watched the NXT UK.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
Really? Wasn't that good?
I mean, no. I don't want to say it wasn't good.
Okay.
It was... Did a solid job of building up new character. Of showcasing who their top talent is going to be.
Was Mustache Mountain there?
They were there.
Tony Storm, or she's
Tony Storm.
Okay,
but that right there, we know who Tony Storm and Mustache Mountain are.
Yeah.
I don't need them to be established. I was hoping that this was going to be the thing where they're in storylines now, where we're going to get a story, like Tony Storm getting into an actual storyline. We know she's a good wrestler. Anyone who's watching NXT knows Tony Storm is a good wrestler.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that big of a new audience they're going to be getting that isn't watching NXT or the Mae Young Classic or anything she's been in with WWE. So, I just feel like they didn't do anything to stand out. Like, it was kind of like they know you're going to watch.
Yeah.
So they presented you with the same formula that they have on NXT, that they have on 205 Live. There were no storylines. There were nothing to that made me say I have to watch next week, and and I think that was kind of my problem here, where it was like there's not a lot of stuff. It's my problem in general with WWE. So I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. We got to wrap this up really quick, so we got to run through this. Rey Mysterio took on Shinsuke Nakamura in another World Cup qualifying match. Hey, this time somebody that's not American was going to win, or at least not American heritage was going to win. Rey ended up defeating Nakamura, but this was a good match.
Great match.
I was surprised to see some of the people commenting that they didn't enjoy the match.
People said they didn't like this match?
What? And I was like, what? It made no sense. That was good stuff. And Rey is the kind of wrestler that allows Shinsuke to really bring out like his harder edge stuff from Japan.
Yeah.
Like his more strong style stuff. Because some of these wrestlers don't work well with his strong style stuff. And Rey really did. Like he went on this mini run in the middle of the match Shinsuke did that I was like, damn, I haven't seen him do these moves in a long time.
Me too. That's how I will say I noticed a few things like in terms of them clicking a little bit, like some of the Hurricane Rana, like that wasn't necessarily a little off.
Both legs over.
Yeah, or like there was a few little things, but that's just such nitpicky stuff in my opinion. I agree with you. Like there was stuff he was busting out. Like when what's that move he does when he slides out to the outside? Yeah. I haven't seen him do that in a long time. I was pumped on that one. I was like, oh man, I love when he does that move. And so, I thought he looked re-energized. Looked great out there. I like that he's got an interesting new mask. Yeah. I guess I saw someone I saw on Twitter.
Shirt.
What?
I like the shirt too.
I like the shirt.
The shirt's great.
I saw someone say the mask is reminiscent of the mask he wore when he debuted in wrestling in general. Oh. That have like a thing in the middle. And I love that Rey Mysterio puts that much thought into his attire, into his gear. He does more. He puts more thought into it than most, and he always has something cool. I tweeted today, and I worded it terribly, but like I feel like he's in the conversation for having the most amount of cool wrestling gear throughout his career than anyone else. Like he's got a lot of cool gear, and this was one of them. Yeah, agreed. I enjoyed seeing Shinsuke finally show up for a match because like he'd been kind of going through the paces in a bit with Hardy. There wasn't that much chemistry there between them. Not that he wasn't giving 100%. It just felt like he didn't have quite the chemistry or the great partner to work with, right? And so you saw this throughout the match that they did have good chemistry between them, and it was believable that Rey won. Was it? Yes, it was.
Right.
But what do you think about them having the United States champion lose, though?
Oh, I didn't mind because they didn't lose the belt.
No, but it's like you have one of your champions losing.
Yeah, but it's Rey.
Yes.
I think it's a Teflon loss. Like, it's Rey. It's not going to hang on you and make it your reign seem less credible. And if anything else...
but they aren't using him that much right now.
Yeah, they aren't. But it could build up a rivalry here.
That's what I am hoping for.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
Yes, I'm hoping that at World Cup, at Crown Jewel, if it takes place, what I think it will, I'm assuming that Nakamura will... interfere and beat up Rey Mysterio in whatever his first match is to set up a rivalry between the two of them going forward. Because I think it only makes sense. Yeah, agreed. And then to end the show, we had a bit of a wet fart, in my opinion. Fuck, this was stupid.
Yeah, this was dumb. I mean,
what
coming out
the hell was the Undertaker segment?
Coming out of the pink boiler room, I thought when he came out, I was like, oh, I didn't know he was coming out. Interesting. Okay. I guess they promoted it, but I didn't know like ahead of time of the show. And so when he starts coming out, I was like, oh man, this is gonna. Maybe they heard the complaints about the pink boiler room, and they're gonna let him do this badass promo. And he comes out and he says, "I've got 3 words for DX." Rest in peace. And then walks out. And then homie has to sell it going, it's straight and to the point, powerful words from The Undertaker, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, no, what? No.
It was so pointless.
It was, man.
It was.
That's how you end the 1000th episode of Raw.
That was what I was saying. You know, it was that like, man, imagine Raw 25 had just ended with Stone Cold coming out and just being like, I got, 2 words for it, hell yeah, or whatever, and you'd be like, that's it?
Yeah.
And then he just walked out like, what? Yeah. And I get that we've seen Undertaker a bunch now, so I guess in their eyes we didn't need a ton, but then why'd you put him there?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you end on a higher note? Why wouldn't you end with something cooler? Like,
makes no sense.
It made no sense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. It was dumb storytelling. Yeah. It was bad storytelling at the end of the day. It was like, and pointless. Just pointless. Just so pointless.
Couldn't agree more, man.
You can't advertise that Undertaker is coming out and making it and that be it. Yeah. That's just silly. It's like, it's very similar. And I don't know why they always do this Undertaker and SmackDown, but it was like when Undertaker came out, I want to say, I forget exactly when it was now. Yeah. But when Undertaker came out on SmackDown, they promoted that he was going to be there. And then he came out and he was like, Undertaker is home or something like that. Or SmackDown is the home of the Undertaker or something like that. Yep. And then he wasn't on the show for another year. Yeah. And you're like, What was that? What was the point of that?
Yeah.
Why? And I just, it was a big why. It was a big, and it left, I think this segment is what left such a bad taste in my mouth of the show as a whole. In terms of
I can understand
what
that.
I was saying at the beginning now.
Yeah.
Now that we're done, that's what I was saying. I think that's why I felt that way in terms of like being like the celebration of 1,000th episode. Like imagine if this was like, I don't know, like a David Letterman or something like that.
Sure.
And it was like not a celebration of everything.
Right.
Instead, it was just kind of like lackluster pictures and then like, I don't know, like Paul Schaefer coming out and not singing a song. I don't know, like that's good. But I don't know, like it was just it was a lackluster ending and it left a bad taste in the mouth of like the SmackDown celebration.
Yeah.
The show as a whole was really good.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. Like the ending itself, but I kind of moved past it quickly. Like, fuck, they had to mess something up, I guess. And I just was like, whatever. It's not going to ruin that I enjoed the show overall. And
Fair enough.
I switched the channel, started watching something else. So like I didn't dwell on it
Probably
too much.
soccer or something.
Probably from LA. No, but like I was just like, okay, whatever.
One of our multiple teams that we have here.
But I mean, I did nothing to promote it. So we'll see what happens, dude. I know you've got your finger on the pulse of this, whether it's going to happen or not, this crown jewel, or where it might happen now. But maybe this SmackDown is a way of them to like put a little fog over it and get past it. We'll see, because already on one side of the fence, and I know we got to wrap up here, but already on one side of the fence, Trump and his people are already saying like, oh, it was a rogue agent, or it was like, oh, it was guilty until proven innocent, that kind of bullshit. But everybody knows what happened. He's just trying to protect his interests, and I wonder if WWE will do the same. I just wonder, man.
This is just full conspiracy theorist in me.
Yeah.
Not any inside info whatsoever.
Don't quote him on this.
This is not to be a quoted thing. This is strictly speculation on my part as a person who likes conspiracy theories.
Yes.
I just have this feeling Trump called Vince. I just have this feeling. Whoa. I don't know why. I don't know this. This isn't like an info I have.
Certainly possible. His wife works on the Small Business Administration.
I just have this feeling that it was like, wait, we don't know. Don't jump to conclusions. Wait.
Vince is a smart man. Vince knows how to write conspiracy theories, and he knows how to write angles, both heel and face. So he knows what happened. If he's letting a call from Trump,
but look at it this way,
affect his opinion when he's a way more intelligent man than Trump, then that's a whole nother ballgame.
Well, I look at it this way: is Vince hates the media just as much as Trump does.
He does.
Vince hates not like I'm saying he wants journalists murdered,
right.
But in terms of believing reports, and believing a New York Times report. I'm sure they've done lots of negative things about WWE, and I'm sure that Vince, when he hears New York Times, doesn't necessarily think this credible source or CNN or whatever. Maybe. I'm sure he thinks fake news.
Maybe.
So then the president calls him, and like I'm saying, this is speculation, this isn't something I know, but let's say then the president calls him, and the president says, Vince, I know you have the show coming up. I know you're getting tons of pressure. Let me figure it out. Wait. And Vince goes, yes, sir, Mr. President. You're my wife's boss.
Right.
I'll wait. And now they wait.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems plausible.
And we don't know what business interests Vince might have in Saudi Arabia either. We don't know besides the contract.
We know besides this contract.
Yeah, besides that.
Ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah, people have multiple revenue streams, man, so you never know. People have stocks and all kinds of things. So anyway, okay, that's our Collider Body Slam SmackDown Live recap of the 1,000th episode of SmackDown. A lot of fun to talk about it. We went into multiple territories, so we're adding a little more to your enjoyment.
I tend to do that. Sorry,
it's always. I love doing that.
For those of you listening to Wrestling Sheet Radio, you know that Rocha has kept me on track more better than I'm able to keep myself on track, because as host of Wrestling Sheet Radio, I'm constantly on a tangent. So it was like I had Rachel on the show this week, and she was just like, are we going to talk about this? I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. We're cool. Don't worry. The listeners, they're used to this.
Yeah, fair. And that was a good show. Rachel, shout out to Rachel. Really good stuff.
Yeah, she killed it on there.
Yeah, she did. All right, and you tell them where to find everything, my friend.
Okay, well, it's if you want to watch the video, it's youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. That's where we're on here. You get to see our faces. You get to see our reactions. You get to see all these Collider Live decorations.
Sure.
Working on getting that changed so that it's like a little more neutral, but don't say anything to anyone. Oh, just said it out loud.
Oh boy.
But yes, so youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. That's where you can see us. That's where you can see the other shows. Where you can see Wrestling Sheet Radio, which I just mentioned. Rachel Sam Evans was my guest co-host last week. You can also see different news hits, various things on there, press conference footage from the New Japan show that was out here in LA recently. Lots of fun stuff on there. If you're watching video, hello. If you're watching on video, make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed as well. It's podcast 1. Wrestling Sheet Radio is where you can find all the different shows under the Wrestling Sheet Radio feed. It's also available on iTunes as well. I'm in the process of fixing the Stitcher Spotify situation. Apparently it was an issue on something on my end that I did in terms of the RSS feed changing, and I didn't alert all those people. So I'm working on that for those of you who used to listen those ways as well. I'm only one man. I'm doing my best, but I'm working on it. But in the meantime, if you're watching a video, go subscribe there. There's also Top 5 with James and Kevin, which have fun lists of things going on in wrestling. Last week it was Top 5 heel to face turns, I believe. I think it was heel to face turns. There's also Best of the Rest with Rachel Sam Evans and Aaron Turner. Yeah. I believe they're going to be talking about Bound for Glory this week, as well as other things that are going on not in the world of WWE. And then make sure you guys follow everything going on with Collider, Collider Video, Collider Sports. He talked about the stuff they're doing with the Premier League. Yeah, it's Premier League, right?
Premier League. Premier League for those British people. Premier League.
Make sure you guys are following all that as well. And the website, ProWrestlingSheet.com, where you can check it out. Make sure you guys go follow that on social media. It's at Wrestling Sheet.
There you go. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And I hope I can say this and not risk Ryan's ire, but Aaron and I have been talking about this show.
I was scared for a second.
Yeah, Ryan approved it. Aaron Turner, who hosts the other show that we have, one of the other shows we have on the Wrestling Sheet, me and him are going to get together, and every week we're going to do a commentary on a great match from the past. So,
do you guys think of a good name yet, though?
No, we're still kicking around.
Okay.
Right? He wanted to do something called Slamentary.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. So we're going to figure something out. Aaron's already probably, as he's listening to this,
I know he's listening.
He's throwing something.
I know he's like, oh, why would they say the name? Put my name down, those assholes.
But you can follow him at AT Titanium. You can follow me at The Rocha Says. Tweet at us, even DM us, and let us know what matches you want to hear our commentary. The way we're prepping the show is that we'll talk about what was happening for both of these people as they were coming, or tag teams, whatever, as they were coming into this match, and what were the main storylines that they were trying to work out through the match, and how it was. And then we'll do a commentary. We'll watch together and do a commentary of the match, and then talk about afterwards. So that's our plan for that right now.
I like that format.
Yeah. So if you're interested, let us know what matches you want to cover. We've got 3 or 4 already in the hopper in our heads, but we definitely want to look at a bunch of other stuff coming down the pike. So, all right. Thanks everybody for watching this week. Collider Body Slam SmackDown Live recap. We will see you next week for another episode of Collider Body Slam.
ProWrestlingSheet.com